Hello, and welcome to Rethinking Our History, where we seek to shed a light on events that have been forgotten and covered up, and to make us all question how much do we really know about our history? I'm Felicia.
And I'm Ian, and we are here to reveal all the sordid details of history that have been swept under the rug. Get ready to get angry, be curious, and maybe have a laugh or two as we rethink our history.
Hey, friends.
Hey guys.
Thanks for joining us for another lesson, number 36. This week, we're going to take a look at a time in history that has quickly come back to repeat itself.
Yay.
But first, the business.
Yes.
Found us here first and are a fan of the supernatural. Give our show, The Paranormal Lovers, a try. Over one
habitable.
Over 100 episodes about some of the worst cults and most bizarre cryptids. If you would please be so kind, give us a follow, share, rating, and review if possible on social media and your favorite streaming app. We are on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcast, as well as videos on YouTube. Just search for The Paranormal Lovers in the search bar.
Especially if you're on Apple, because we're not showing up on there for some reason. So if you guys could rate us on there, that would be awesome. Yeah. So then we'll actually show up.
Yeah, please. Just a little 5-star. You don't have to leave a little note, even though we do like to see those. We like to see the comments. If you would like to support the making of these shows, we have a couple ways to do so. First, we have the merch store at theparanormallovers.threadless.com. There you can get stickers, wall art, phone cases, and notebooks, and other stuff.
Do it before we turn into a merch store instead of a merch store.
We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/theparanormallovers, where for only $5 a month, you get early access to unedited videos of both shows, as well as stickers and other swag from time to time. And finally, if you have a personal story, topic, request you'd like to be a guest on the show, or you just want to chat, email us at theparanormallovers@yahoo.com. All right. I'm actually really kind of excited about this episode.
You know, you've been working hard on it.
Listen, we can't talk.
We're out of practice.
It's been a month since we've recorded. We were at the beach this last week.
It's been wild.
So if you are a fan of OG Sublime, you are familiar with their song April 26, 1992. While that date was a mistake, these events started on the 29th. The song was such a hit, they just left it alone.
Right on.
And it's a fucking banger, man.
It is.
When they started playing this song, okay, admittedly, it was Sublime with Rom. Obviously, Bradley's been dead for like decades.
Yeah.
When they started playing this song in Asheville, he didn't even have to sing because we all knew the fucking words to that song.
Oh, yeah.
We all did. We were screaming it so loud.
I've never seen that many people know all of the lyrics to a song.
All of the lyrics to the song. I was like, Asheville fucking knows Sublime, bro. But to some people, it is glorifying looting and violence towards law enforcement. If you don't know, one of the lines says, quote, "It's about coming up and staying on top and screaming 187 on a motherfucking cop," end quote. But those same people want to ignore what causes someone to act out so violently. I need people to understand something. For 500 years, black and brown people have been abused and exploited and then told to appreciate the crumbs we are given. They're pitted against each other to keep them fighting amongst themselves so rich white men can keep getting richer. From chattel slavery to genocide to Jim Crow laws and fighting for your citizenship on your own goddamn land, we've been told to grin and bear it or turn the other cheek. But at some point, enough is enough.
Yeah.
And that's where LA found itself in the 80s and 90s. While this might be the city of angels, those tasked to protect and serve were anything but. The LAPD, out of all the corrupt police departments in the U.S., has the longest and worst history of terrorizing minority and underserved communities. Police Chief Daryl Gates was by and far one of the worst chiefs of all time. It was really funny when I first started listening to podcasts. The second podcast I ever listened to was Morbid, and I started with their OG episodes. And in the beginning, they talked a lot about Elena's ex, who is an LAPD officer. in the shit they talked about the LA Police Department,
Yeah.
I had no idea.
You know, like
But yeah,
you said Daryl Gates, right?
yep.
You know, like when you said his name, I was like, wait a minute, that's in another song. And it's from Rage Against the Machine.
Shocker.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Connecting the dots. Connecting the dots. See, I didn't know that. I knew it was in the Rage Against the Machine song, but I never knew who he was. So I'm about to find out,
By
I
and
guess.
far the worst police chief LA has ever seen.
Right.
In 1987, Gates began Operation Hammer. This operation was an extension of the security measures used for the 1984 Olympics. These measures were mainly doing large sweeping roundups of gang members. But of course, most of the people arrested were not gang members, and most of their raids took place in East and South Central LA.
Hmm.
To make these measures seem acceptable, Daryl dug up an old anti syndicalist laws to justify mass arrests of brown and black people. Between 1984 and 1989, oh wait, that's not the stat I was really excited about. Not actually excited about it, but we'll get to it.
Right.
Complaints of police brutality increased 33%.
Hmm.
On August 1st, 1988, the LAPD executed a large scale raid on two apartment buildings on the corner of 39th Street and Dalton Avenue. They claimed they were searching for drugs, but in 2001, Officer Todd Patrick stated, quote, "We weren't just searching for drugs, we were delivering a message that there was a price to pay for selling drugs and being a gang member," end quote. During this raid, they, quote, "smashed furniture, punched holes in walls, and destroyed family photos," end quote. Cute.
What the hell?
Cute.
Why the family photos? What the
I don't
fuck?
know. Listen, so one of the girls that Patty goes to school with, her mom had this incident yesterday where her husband got pulled over and arrested for a failure to appear warrant. She's like, whatever, he got arrested. That's his own fucking stupidity. The problem she had was when the Canton police officer called her and told her she had 9 minutes to come pick up her car, even though he knew that was the only car she had.
Right.
And then was having it towed, even though the cop that actually arrested her husband wasn't going to have it towed and was just going to leave the keys in it so she could come get it.
Right.
So she ends up having to go up there with her dad and her brother, the fucking tow truck driver, who I fucking know. Wow. Is like being an asshole and locking her out of her car, and she can't even get her purse out of the car, and the cop's just being a total dick.
Right.
And I'm like, A cab.
Right.
That's all I can say. A cab.
That's that shit.
And now, like, his mom's messaging her on Facebook talking shit. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to go to Canton and whoop his ass.
Mhm.
Like, goddamn. They also rounded up dozens of residents, beat and humiliated them. When it was all over, all they had found was 6 ounces of cannabis and less than 1 ounce of cocaine.
Hmm.
They also spray painted the walls with phrases like LAPD rules and rolling 30s die.
Hmm.
Cute. Can you not use graffiti to be assholes? Thanks.
Right.
By 1990, 50,000 people had been arrested in these raids.
Jeez.
From 1984 till, or was it, let's see, 1987 to 1990, 50,000 people had been arrested
That's crazy in only 3 years.
in 3 years. Y'all starting to understand why LA was pissed?
I bet.
Why LA's still fucking pissed? Why LA's not just letting ICE snatch people off the fucking street?
Because they've had it done before.
Hello?
Yeah.
While Chief Gates tried to claim 70% of arrests led to charges, records show only 32 felony charges.
So 32 felonies out of 50,000 people arrested.
Yep. After the riots, when the Christopher Commission completed their investigation, they found that, quote, A significant number of LAPD officers repetitively used excessive force against the public and persistently ignored the written guidelines of the department regarding force. End quote. Like, no fucking shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
You had to have a whole fucking commission to tell you what they've been fucking telling you.
They still do that shit too. I seen
Hmm.
so I watch Sir Onster, the guy with the e-bikes. And they do like ride outs and stuff like that. And a lot of times in their ride outs they have like kids with them, which I think is cool because this
Right.
guy's like giving the kids something to do.
Right.
Granted, yes, it's dangerous, but he promotes them to wear helmets and, try to stay out of harm's way. Um,
Yeah, be safe about it.
he tries to tell them how to do it safely, but the cops pulled him over on one of their ride outs, and I see this cop just like chasing this little kid down, and the little kid like falls and he's like, no, I give up, and the cop is still like, yanking him around and like trying to like forcefully handcuff him and stuff, and it's just like, bro,
That's a
this is
kid.
a kid.
That's a kid.
Like, don't be doing that shit to kids.
It's a fucking kid.
Like, it's all right if you want to manhandle a grown man, but come on now.
Right. Right. And like, this is shit brown kids have been dealing with
Yeah.
their whole lives.
Yeah.
Like, you know? During this time, tensions were high between the black and Korean communities in LA. What'd you drop?
It's just plugging in my computer.
Gotcha.
You keep going.
Between language barriers and cultural differences, the two communities did not really understand each other. Add to that Korean shop owners who had fallen for internalized white supremacy and colorism, suspecting black customers of stealing. The black community was tired of always being seen as criminals when they were just trying to live. 1 year before the riots broke out, just 13 days after Rodney King was beaten, the fuse was lit when 15-year-old Latasha Hartens was shot and killed by 49-year-old Soon Ja Do. Letitia was a black girl who had stopped by the store to get some juice, and Do was the Korean shop owner. And I don't remember this as well. I feel like this got ignored. Maybe not ignored, but like overwhelmed with everything that happened with Rodney King. I feel like this story kind of got pushed to the side a little bit because I don't
Right.
remember this as much as I know the name of Rodney King,
Yeah.
you know? Around 10 a.m. on Saturday, March 16th, Latasha walked into the store to grab a bottle of orange juice. Do claims she only saw the girl put the juice in her bag and she hadn't noticed the money she was holding in her hand. Do claims she asked Latasha if she was going to pay for the juice, and the girl responded, "What juice?" But two kids who had been at the store in the store at the time reported that Do had immediately started accusing Latasha of stealing, and the girl responded that she was going to pay for it. I guess Do forgot that she had cameras in her own fucking store. Video shows Do grab the back of Latasha's sweater and bag. Latasha punches Do 2 times in the face, knocking her to the ground. Do grabbed a stool and threw it at Latasha. The video then shows Latasha turn around and attempt to leave the store, but Do goes behind the counter, grabs her revolver, and shoots Latasha in the back of the head from a distance of 3 feet.
Damn.
While Do was charged and found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, she would never see the inside of a prison cell.
Hmm.
The judge, Joyce Carlin, felt Do had suffered enough and that anyone would have done the same thing. Do's sentence was as follows, quote, 5 years of probation, 10 years of suspended prison, 400 hours of community service, and a payment of $500 fine and Harlan's funeral cost, end quote.
Wow.
She murdered a 15-year-old girl over a bottle of orange juice,
That's crazy.
and she never saw the inside of a prison.
Right.
So again, y'all starting to understand why black people were so pissed off?
Right.
On April 21st, 1992, a state appeals court upheld the decision unanimously. This was roughly 1 week before shit hit the fan. Just another thing that showed people the system does not care about them. Now, the story most of us know as the catalyst of all that happened. While some people think that this is what sparked the riots, it was really just the straw that broke the camel's back, the beating of Rodney King. Rodney Glenn King was born on April 2nd, 1965, in Sacramento, California, but grew up in Altadena with his four siblings. His father passed away in 1984 at the age of 42. In 1989, King robbed a Korean store owner in Monterey Park. He was sentenced to 2 years but only served one. He would go on to have three children, all daughters. On March 3rd, 1991, Rodney and two of his friends, Bryant Allen and Freddie Helms, were traveling west on I 210 in the San Fernando Valley. They had been at a friend's house watching a game and drinking beer and were headed home when they were spotted by two state troopers. These two state troopers, husband and wife duo,
What the hell?
Tom and Melanie Singer. Yeah, I'm like, pretty sure they don't let you do that anymore.
Right.
Pretty sure you can't have a husband and wife partner cop buddy situation anymore because that can get real dangerous for other people.
Yeah. Uh, probably be able to be corrupt like very easily that way.
Mhm. Well, and I mean, even just like if you have a regular partner, yeah, you're still going to want to save their life and protect them, but it's not going to be as much as if it was your spouse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not going to be like, okay, well, we're both cops going in to do this job. We're both in danger. It's like, okay, we're both cops, but also that's my wife. I need to protect her.
Emotion becomes involved.
Exactly. Exactly. They threw on their lights and sirens to pull them over, but Rodney decided to run. He later stated his reasoning was, quote, hoping to avoid a driving under the influence charge and the parole violation that would follow, end quote. The chase would reach speeds of 117 miles an hour or 188 kilometers per hour.
Whew.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Rodney exited the freeway into residential areas with speeds between 50 to 80 miles an hour or 90 to 130 kilometers an hour, and Rodney ran at least one red light. By this time, many more patrol cars had joined the chase, as well as a police helicopter.
Oh no.
Yeah, you ain't getting away once the police helicopter gets called in.
No, it's kind of tough to get away from
They
those.
got like heat sickened shit and
Yeah.
night vision, and you ain't getting away. This chase went on for 8 miles before they were able to corner him. The first five officers on the scene were Stacy Kuhn, Lawrence Powell, Timothy Wynn, Theodore Brincino, and Ronaldo Solano. Once once Bryant and Freddie exited the car, they claimed they were immediately attacked by officers. And y'all know I say claimed and allegedly for legal reasons. Personally, I believe it. Plus, there's this little thing called a video.
Yeah.
But first, we'll get to it. Bryant claimed that he was kicked and stomped on and threatened. Freddie was hit in the head while laying face down on the ground, requiring a trip to the hospital for a cut on the top of his head.
Mm.
And like, they weren't even fucking driving, bro.
They were just riding.
They were just riding, and they got out of the car as soon as it was stopped.
Right.
Rodney was the last to exit the vehicle, and according to the official reports, his behavior was not great. Quote, King was reported to have giggled, to have patted the ground, and waved to the police helicopter overhead. King grabbed his buttocks, which Officer Melanie Singer took to mean King was reaching for a weapon, though he was later found to be unarmed, end quote. At this point, now keep in mind that is the official report. At this point, the video hasn't started.
Right.
So we don't actually have any verifiable evidence of what happened up until this point. This is all what's in the official report.
Yeah.
At this point, Officer Singer pulled her weapon and ordered Rodney to the ground. She then approached with her weapon still aimed at him to arrest him. But Kuhn, who was the ranking officer, took command of the scene and ordered her to stand down. Again, according to the official report, quote, Sergeant Kuhn ordered the four other LAPD officers at the scene, Bricino, Powell, Solano, and Wynn, to subdue and handcuff King using a technique called swarm, where multiple officers grab a suspect with empty hands to overcome potential resistance quickly. The four officers claimed King resisted attempting to restrain him when he stood up to remove officers Powell and Bricino from his back. Both King and witnesses dispute this claim. The officers would later testify they believe King was under the influence of phencyclidine, phencyclidine or PCP, though King's toxicology tested negative for the drug, end quote. So there's a famous saying that says, quote, there are three sides to the story, your side, my side, and the truth, end quote. The rest of that, we're going to ignore it. There's actually more to that quote, but we're going to ignore it because we got some of the truth caught on video.
Yeah.
Across the street from this incident, in an apartment near the intersection of Foothill Boulevard and Osborne Street, plumbing salesman George Holliday was home when he heard the commotion. George was also an amateur videographer, and when he saw what was taking place, he loaded up his camcorder and began filming.
Oh, snap.
Now,
Those pesky camcorders.
if you were born in 2005, within the last 20 years, you may not know what a camcorder is. I feel so old. Anyways, it's just a big thing that films stuff. And back then we used a VHS tape.
I would love to
Whole
have
tape.
an old camcorder.
Stick that in there, pop it in. You got to make sure the big ass battery's plugged into the back. Put
Yeah.
that bitch up on your shoulder. Get to filming. That's how all family videos were taken back in the day.
Yeah.
We didn't have cell phones and stuff, so
From like the 60s till
probably early 2000s.
probably early late 2000s.
Yeah. Now they're mainly used for filming TV and movies. So George gets his camcorder up and running and starts filming what is happening outside of his home. In the video, you see, quote, King on the ground after being tased by Coon. He rises and rushes towards Powell as argued in court, either to attack Powell or to flee, and King and Powell collide in a rush. Taser wires can be seen on King's body. Officer Powell strikes King with his baton, and King is knocked to the ground. Powell strikes King several more times with his baton. Brincino moves in, attempting to stop Powell from striking again, and Powell stands back. Coon reportedly said, Stop, stop, that's enough. King rises again to his knees. Powell and Wynn are seen hitting King with their batons, end quote. Side quest. Do you remember when Trooper Sean Blanton was killed at the Canton exit?
Yeah.
So I knew Sean. He was a member of the Eastern Band of the Cherokee Indians. He was one of several cops who would come and hang out at the truck stop where I worked.
Right.
They got free coffee and donuts. I didn't have to deal with asshole truckers while working graveyard. If you know, you know. It's a good deal. So when Sean was shot, the suspect took off and a chase was had. I believe he was caught around the Newfound exit, so like 2 miles up the road.
Yeah.
During the trial, one of the officers who was testifying, old Lieutenant, I knew Lieutenant's a wonderful man, was asked if it was true that he had kicked the suspect. And I remember his face so clearly when he said, yes, he had just killed my friend. You bet I kicked him.
Right.
And I remember thinking, yeah, I get that emotion. I do. I get that. They're still people. They're still humans at the end of the day, regardless of what their job is and how a cab I feel all day long.
Right.
But what Rodney didn't kill anybody.
Right.
Rodney had not shot anybody. You know, he wasn't, other than fleeing from the cops, like he wasn't hurting anybody when they tried to stop him.
Yeah.
Yes, he broke the law, but no one died. So what happens next was wholly unjustified.
Yeah.
Also, our suspect, when he was taken into jail, did not have any broken bones. He was bloodied. He was bruised. He didn't have any broken bones.
Right.
Quote, in the videotape, King continued to try and stand again. Coon orders the officers to, quote, hit his joints, hit the wrist, hit his elbows, hit his knees, hit his ankles. Officers Wynn, Brincino, and Powell attempt numerous baton strikes on King, resulting on some misses, but with 33 blows hitting King plus 7 kicks.
Jesus.
The officers again swarm. King is placed in handcuffs and cord cuffs, restraining his arms and legs. King is dragged on his abdomen to the side of the road to await the arrival of emergency medical rescue, end quote. Now, remember George is filming all of this on his camcorder. 2 days later, he contacted the LAPD, but they didn't want to see it. In fact, nobody wanted to see it until George finally got in contact with Warren Wilson, a reporter for KTLA. Warren took the tape and even visited Rodney in jail for an interview. What would have been another forgotten act of violence became a household topic across the country.
Right.
At the hospital, Rodney was found to have suffered a facial bone fracture, a broken ankle, and numerous cuts and bruises.
Mm.
But when he filed a claim against the city, he didn't file a claim against you, Sid, I promise. Against the city, Rodney claimed he had, quote, 11 skull fractures, permanent brain damage, broken bones and teeth, kidney failure, and emotional and physical trauma, end quote.
Damn.
Rodney was given drug tests via urine and blood. They found trace amounts of cannabis in his system, and his blood alcohol content was 0.075 5 hours after the incident. Most places in the US, the legal limit is 0.08, so he would have been well above the legal limit when the chase began.
Right.
Which, like, I'm not proud that I've driven drunk, but I'm pretty sure I've been more sloshing than that driving home from when I was younger.
Right.
Nurses at the hospital reported overhearing the officers laughing and joking about how many times they hit King. And in the end, Rodney didn't receive a single charge.
Wow.
Nothing. 4 officers were charged with assault and use of excessive force. The trial had a change of venue from LA County to Ventura County, which, like, I'm always like, why do you think moving 2 counties over in a case that is international attention is going to give you any better chance?
Right.
Like, it always makes me chuckle when they're like, "Oh, they changed the venue," and I'm like, "They people still know what the fuck's going on over there."
Yeah.
Like, especially in this day and age with social media,
Yeah.
bitch, please. The jury, the one that is supposed to be made up of our peers, was made of 10 white men, 1 biracial man, 1 Latino, and 1 Asian man. So it should be no surprise that on April 29th, all 4 officers were acquitted of the charges.
Mm.
Movie director John Singleton was outside the courthouse when the verdict was given. He predicted, quote, "By having this verdict, what these people did, they lit the fuse to a bomb," end quote.
Yep.
And for the next 5 days, LA became a battleground. A dusk to dark curfew went into place, and the National Guard and other troops were sent to the city. Even though they had allocated $1 million for police overtime following the verdict, because they knew that this was probably going to happen and they were going to need more cops on duty, all of
Yeah.
the captains were out of town at a training seminar.
Oh no.
I said, "You got to be shitting me. The fuck?" All right. 1 p.m. Judge Stanley Weisberg let it be known a verdict had been reached and would be announced at 3 p.m. This was done to give law enforcement and emergency responders time to prepare for the protest that would surely follow an acquittal. The LAPD activated their emergency operations center, but no one was actually brought in to man it until 4:45. 3:15 p.m. The acquittals are publicly announced. Within 30 minutes, over 300 protesters had shown up at the courthouse.
Wow.
Over on Florence Avenue in South Central at the same time, a group of youths, quote, "just decided they weren't going to pay for what they were getting," end quote. The son of the store owner was hit with a beer bottle, and 2 of the youths busted out the glass in the front door of the store. When 2 officers arrived, the group had already left the scene, so the officers just filed a report. 4:58 p.m. Mayor Tom Bradley held a press conference to make a statement on the verdict. Quote, "Today, this jury told the world that what we all saw with our own eyes wasn't a crime. Today, that jury asked us to accept the senseless and brutal beating of a helpless man. Today, that jury said we should tolerate such conduct by those sworn to protect and serve. My friends, I am here to tell this jury no, no, our eyes did not deceive us. We saw what we saw. What we saw was a crime. We must not endanger the reforms we have achieved by resorting to mindless acts. We must not push back progress by striking back blindly," end quote. The assistant police chief, Bob Vernon, believes it was that press conference that emboldened people to riot. Soon, a call comes in for assistance for two officers at Florence and Halldale. Excuse me. A 16-year-old named Shondell Daniels threw something at their cruiser and took off on foot. The officers who were chasing him, that auto corrected to chains. The officers who were chasing him had called for backup, and 24 officers, 24 police,
Jeez.
showed up to arrest a 16-year-old.
Wow.
He was rough handled during this arrest, and this agitated the growing crowd who knew Shondell well. There were two men in the crowd who began to document the events. Quote, Bart Bartholomew, a white freelance photographer for the New York Times, and Timothy Goldman, a black U.S. Air Force veteran who began to record the event on his personal camcorder. End quote.
Them
Them
camcorders.
fucking camcorders, bro. It was everywhere back in the day. The situation was quickly getting out of their control. After a few more arrests and one officer having his flashlight stolen,
Oh no.
Lieutenant Michael
Not the
Mullen
flashlight.
ordered officers out of the area. He was concerned his officers would resort to deadly force to dispel the crowd. On Timothy's video, he can be heard saying, quote, Hey, forget the flashlight. It's not worth it. It ain't worth it. It's not worth it. Forget the flashlight. Not worth it. Let's go. End quote. He's like, Nope. It's just fucking flashlight, man. Don't do
That's
it.
my favorite flashlight.
But it's my flashlight. Don't do it. And that was 1992. That's when they had them big ass fucking mag lights you could bust people in the head with.
Yep.
The officers retreated to the bus depot at 54th and Arlington and set up a makeshift command center. It was shitty as the only computers and cell phones were in the patrol cars. Remember, this is 1992.
Yeah.
Computers and cell phones were basic.
Yeah.
Basic.
Right.
Pretty much had like a fucking desktop in their car. It was crazy. There were very few landlines and handheld radios and no TVs to be able to see what was going on outside. After the cops retreated, the crowd made their way 1 block south to the intersection of Florence and Normandy. The crowd turned violent and Bart became a target. He was hit in the face with a board that broke his jaw and then was hit by several people and had his camera stolen. Timothy, the black guy, was able to rescue him and get him to safety. 6 p.m. The paddock to Tom's Liquor was broken and over 1 people raided the store. Remember what I talked about in the beginning, how people get tired of taking the high road and turning the other cheek? It wasn't just white people that were a problem for black people in LA. They had issues with the Korean community too.
Right.
So everyone who is not black at this point became a target. White people for the sins of their ancestors and everyone else for following their example.
Right.
The crowd began to, quote, throw debris at their cars, pulling them from their vehicles when they stopped, smashing window shops, or assaulting them while they walked on the sidewalk, end quote. As Timothy was recording from the ground, a helicopter carrying Los Angeles News Service reporters Marika Girard and Zoe Tur showed up to capture the chaos from the sky. And where were the cops? Still just chilling at the bus station. They were like taking reports and writing it down, but they were like, all right.
Can't do nothing.
Okay, that sucks. And even when a
Yeah.
captain came over to take over for Lieutenant Mullen, they were still like, all right. Sucks.
Right.
What? 6:43 p.m. Larry Tarvin was a white truck driver who was driving down Florence when he stopped at a red light. Larry did not have a radio in his truck and was not aware of what was taking place in the city. At the red light, Larry was pulled from his truck and beaten by the crowd before he was knocked unconscious with his own fire extinguisher. Larry lay unconscious for over a minute while his truck was raided. When he came to, he was helped by an unknown black person and was able to get back to his truck and drive away. Reporter Bob Brill was recording the attack when the crowd turned and began attacking him. As Larry was driving away, another white man was making his way to the intersection. Reginald Denny was pulled from his truck and beaten by a group that would come to be known as the LA Four. The attack was captured by Timothy on the ground and the news chopper in the sky. When the LA Four took off, four black residents came out to get Reginald back in his truck, and one of them drove him to the hospital. He ended up with a fractured skull and brain damage that affected his motor skills for years.
Mm.
7:40 p.m. Fidel Lopez, a Guatemalan general contractor, was pulled from his truck in the same location, robbed of over 2,000 US dollars, and severely assaulted. Quote, rioters smashed his forehead open with a car stereo, and one tried to slice his ear off. After Lopez lost consciousness, the crowd spray painted his chest, torso, and genitals black. End quote.
Wow.
Another black man came to this man's rescue, Reverend Benny Newton. He told the crowd, quote, kill him and you'll have to kill me too, end quote. Fidel survived his attack, but it took years for him to physically recover and rebuild his business. He and Reverend Benny became lifelong friends.
Nice.
As the sun set on this first day, the fire started. The first report of a fire came in at 7:45 p.m., just 9 minutes after sunset. It would take another 45 minutes for police to return to the intersection of Florence and Normandy. So from like 4 to 8:30, they're just sitting at the bus station while
Right.
people are losing their fucking minds outside.
Right.
Downtown at Parker Center, a large crowd was formed around LAPD headquarters. While officers were outside keeping protesters from storming the building, Chief Gates was at a fundraiser opposing Charter Amendment F. This amendment would, quote, give City Hall more power over the police chief and provide more civilian review of officer misconduct, end quote.
Mm.
Hmm. Hmm. This amendment would also limit the term one could serve as police chief. 9 p.m. The crowd at Parker Center makes their way through the Civic Center. There, they attacked law enforcement, vandalized buildings, and blocked traffic on the 101. They made their way through downtown, raiding and burning stores along the way. Near Los Angeles Fire Department station, firefighters were shot at as they attempted to put out a fire. 9:15 p.m. In Lakeview Terrace, where Rodney had been beaten, 200 to 400 people had gathered. They marched down Osborne Street to the Foothill Division headquarters of the LAPD. Here, people began throwing rocks, shooting into the air, and setting fires. The police were able to use riot breaking techniques to dispel the crowd at first, but as they started arresting people, protests popped up in the neighboring Pacomia community and spread through the San Fernando Valley. Oh. At 12:15 a.m., April 30th, Mayor Bradley issues a dusk to dawn curfew and declares a state of emergency. And so we have come to the end of day 1 and this episode.
Wow. Chaos.
But don't worry, there are 4 more days of this.
Jesus.
So y'all better buckle up, Buttercup, because it's only just begun.
That's crazy.
And I'd say prepare with everything going on in this country right now. It's going to get worse than this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, we're literally having this right now in LA. It's going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse. So, what do you think of April 29th, 1992, Bill?
It's crazy. The beating of Rodney King reminds me of my homie that got beat by the police.
Yeah, Ben.
They got off scot-free too. They were given a free vacation for killing somebody.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of when my stepdad was he did the same thing Rodney did. Yeah. He ran from the cops because he was drunk. And then when they finally got him pulled over, it took 5 of them to get him in handcuffs.
Yeah. I want to say there was like 8.
And like one of the cops actually came up to my mom at court and was like, he's strong as hell.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's a tiny Mexican man. What the fuck do you expect? They're strong as hell because they work hard. Okay.
So my friend was at his own home and wasn't doing anything but like screaming his head off.
He was doing some
I
stuff.
mean, he was on drugs
He
for
was on
sure.
some pretty hardcore
He was
drugs.
on some hard drugs.
And I mean, you know, I don't, obviously that doesn't justify him dying,
No.
but like, yeah, he wasn't acting right. He
Yeah.
was not acting right at all. But it's just another proof that it doesn't really matter what color you are.
No.
It's us versus them, the have and have nots.
Yep.
That's it. It's the have and have nots.
Police brutality sucks all the way around.
I mean, literally, fucking a friend that my daughter goes to school with, her mom is having to deal with a fucking asshole cop yesterday just because he wanted to have the power of having her car towed.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck? The
Right.
fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like, he got in an argument with the cop that arrested her husband because she was like, why are you going to tow the car?
Yeah.
It's the only car they have. They have 5 kids.
Yeah.
And he, like, argued with her and called a tow truck.
That's crazy.
ACAB, Canton Police Department, y'all need to do something about Colton Ergile. Okay?
Yeah.
Because he's a douche canoe.
Right.
All right, folks. Well, hope you enjoyed this episode and get ready for next week because we got the rest of it to go. I don't know if this is going to be a 2-parter or a 3-parter. We'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We hope you guys have a good week and we will see you guys next week.
Be kind to each other.
Be kind.
Love you guys.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.